Good morning, gentlemen. I've got a demonstration to show you. I've got about as far as I can get on this app without getting some additional input from you. So I've put together this little video for you, show you where we are. You can let me know if you think we're on the right track, and we can talk about the missing pieces as we get to the end. So here's your app, here's your home page. It's got your logo in there and the club's identification across the top. And let's start with field locations. My understanding is that you have two locations, and I don't believe from your website that you're using the Palatine fields, but I may be wrong, so let me know if that's the case. But I've got two locations here. Let's pick either one of them and we can view a map and get directions as well if we need to. We can call. That won't show up on this demonstration because obviously it's not actually a telephone, so it's not going to necessarily call, but the number I have plugged in is Joel's number. View your website, get some additional information about the tournament from there, and we can even email you. And again, I have Joel's email in here, so that's something that you can let me know if that's not the right number to put in. But that's a place for people to reach out to you if they get lost and can't find the fields. Tell the team, you saw this in the earlier demonstration, it's exactly the same concept. Every team manager and every coach can pass this on to every one of their team members by Facebook, Twitter, or text, or by email. Just sending in a note to everyone on their team saying, look, I've got this great app and you can download it at the App Store. Next we have schedules. Now this is where most of the work was, but I think I've come up with a pretty good, elegant way to interface what we have with what you're already doing with GOT Soccer. Let's just pick one of these age groups. U8 Boys World Cup Division, and obviously three areas where people can go to find various pieces of information pertaining to schedules, results and standings. So we go into schedules, and that link takes you directly to the relevant page within GOT Soccer. Now of course these are last year's standings, but as you update for this year we'll change those links over, and you should be good to go. Boys Olympic, go in and get the results, and again it goes straight to the relevant page. And of course if this were a phone and you ended up with a horizontal piece or something that could be viewed more appropriately in horizontal layout, you can switch your phone around and it should twist over accordingly. So that's a neat way. We've got them all set up for every age group, U8 boys, U9 boys, U9 girls, every division all the way through your schedule. Big schedule, obviously you have a lot of teams, but we can update these with next year's information as the information becomes available. Announcements, this is the push notifications we talked about in the earlier demo that we did for you, and I've put a couple in just to sort of get the thing started, but registration opens, girls brackets almost full. You can send these out to people to remind them if you've got a bracket that's filling up fast and you know that there are certain people out there that are thinking of entering a team into that bracket. You can let them know, and that obviously is just a service to them, but also a self-promotional thing, because you can let people know that they need to get their applications in sooner rather than later. You can reach out to all of your volunteers, you can reach out to all of your referees and what have you. So the most recent one goes to the top, the oldest ones get pushed to the bottom as you push more notifications in, and I'll show you how to do those when you actually start using the app. Next we have key dates. I got these directly from your website, but this is just something to remind people. Registration opens, closes, team check-in, etc., etc. And there may be other key dates as they come along. The day your merchandise becomes available, maybe you take pre-orders through the app for merchandise sales and things like that. So we can sort of add those key dates and add some of that functionality again once we've got the thing up and running. Social media, this goes directly to your Facebook page, which again is just another way for people to reach out to you. I did notice that you actually have a Twitter feed as well, I believe, and we can also link to that if we deem that necessary. So just a good way, another way for people to reach out to you. Notes, I believe you saw this in the earlier demonstration, pretty self-explanatory, but people can use this, coaches can use this to put team sheets together, sub orders, lunch menus and what have you, so all of that stuff can be put into a notes tab. These are 3 different feeds that we put together. The weather feed um, is just obviously current conditions, future conditions later in the day, evening conditions. I put the logo here of your title sponsor. It fits nicely from the color point of view. We could put your logo for the club also, if that's something you'd rather put in there. I tried putting your tournament logo in there, but frankly it didn't look terribly good, so I took it out and put this in instead. It fits nicely with the colors of your overall design. Same is true of Soccer News, essentially the same concept, just something for people to keep up with. And local traffic, this is something we've started to get some requests for. I don't know if it's a big deal at your tournament, but some of the tournaments we run will work with have traffic issues, and this is something, it's just an RSS feed I picked up from a traffic site. I don't know, you know more than I do, obviously you're local to the area, if this is something that would be useful to your visitors, but it's there and we can either disable it or enhance it as you see fit. Those are the main tabs in terms of what I have, and here's what I'm now lacking. Hotels, obviously it's there, but there's no items to put in there. Same with food and fun and restaurants and those sorts of things, and sponsors and vendors. All of these things have got to be filled in before we can put something in Apple's hands. They will not approve an app that they deem to be unfinished. It's the equivalent of the little construction guide that you have on an under construction page on a website. So we either have to do one of 2 things. We either have to wing it and put some hotels in there, even if we don't necessarily have their contracts in place. If there are hotels which we are 99% sure are going to send in the paperwork, but they just haven't done it yet, we can at least add half a dozen or so, so that we can fill that tab out. The alternative would be to just delete those tabs entirely for the time being and add them later, but I can't submit this to Apple until I have something to put in there or some kind of decision on that. Remember, this is not public. It's not going public until at least 2 or 3 weeks from now. It takes that long to get through the Apple approval process. So if you feel comfortable enough giving me at least 4 or 5 names of hotels that we could enter just to have something to put into that tab, that's something. Similarly with food and fun and vendors. But if not, we can just delete those tabs entirely and come back and fill that space in later on once it's been approved. So there you have it. That's what we've got for the time being. I'll await your feedback, and more importantly, I'll await your decision as to how we proceed with those last 3 tabs: hotels, food and fun, and sponsors. Thanks very much.